Just like the movie Virgin at 40, is virginity at such advanced age something actually bad? Here's what I think about that. Virginity can be a good thing or a bad thing. That depends on your core values and that depends on how you manage that. For instance, if according to your core values you are someone who is like if you're a man, if you're like a player who wants to get lots of girls and experience sexual intimacy with many, and you're still virgin at 40, then that is a bad thing because you are not succeeding in that goal and not achieving what your higher values tell you to do. So I I see society as uh, where it's common for people to have sex like in a more casual manner, perhaps even more than previous decades. I feel like the whole topic about sex is more uh, casualized, so to speak. I don't know if I spelled the word properly. Perhaps there was a better one, but whatever. What I mean is, I don't defend the fact that sex should be a casual thing. I feel like sex should be the highest expression of intimacy. Therefore, if you foster a relationship with someone and you know everything about your romantic partner and your romantic partner knows everything about you, then yeah, I feel like if both of those people are very comfortable with each other, I would say that virginity shouldn't be a problem. I unless their color values or if both agree by removing that label after marriage, which is common in more traditional ways of thinking, then sure, it's a good thing that you keep it. So in the end, I feel like you need to ask yourself what's my stance regarding that topic. What do I want? What do I need? Is virginity a bad thing according to what you need? Are you in that situation? Are you not in that situation? Why are you in that situation? And if not, why are you not in that situation? There are many questions that need to be asked. For me, like I said, I feel like virginity should be something to be removed from someone when they have that intimacy depth with someone else. Because if you notice, although nature is a more primal way of life in a sense, because it's more tied to instincts, and virginity is tied to sex, and sex is tied to love. Do animals, other than humans, of course, because humans are animals, do other animals feel love to one another? Mm, maybe in some sense they do, because some types of animal they have their companions, and like lions, they have the pride of lions. That group can be either family or just multiple lions, and if they care about each other, that means there's some love. But do they feel the feeling? mm, Maybe not, because that's something that perhaps humans experience much better on a much higher level. So, and why am I bringing that Example, why am I bringing uh, other types of species other than humans to this example? That's because humans nowadays, they have sex more based on lust, not so much about love. In nature, animals, when spring comes, spring is the season of creation. Things were dead in the previous season of winter. Now they bloom. And the biggest expression of bloom in the animal kingdom is to procreate, to lose their virginity, for in some cases. But in humans, we are in some ways more complex beings. However, it feels like in that regard, we are not being so complex as we should, in my perspective, because there's the dimension of love. If you're a man and you see a woman, just like an animal in nature, you may feel attracted to her and you may approach her. And then from that approach, you may do what other people call one night stands. That's a more primitive way to have sex because you're not exactly feeling love. You're just feeling uh, a surface level desire for someone else and both engage in that interaction on an intimate level. Like, again, if your core values tell you that you should do that, carry on, but should you? Mm, in my perspective, again, this generation right now uh, has different perspectives than previous ones. And of course, in previous ones, there are many examples of situations where man will just go to woman and it's as if some were competing for who has the most intimate experiences. But as humans who have a more complex way of being, I don't think we should be like that. I feel like for such level of intimacy to be truly honored, I feel like there should be layers to that. Again, get to know a person, and then the more you know, the more comfortable you are with them. And then, yeah, when there's that extreme level of comfort and both agree on it, then you can engage in the most deep level of intimacy. And if you, by some reason, disagree that that's the case, that sex is the most the deep level of intimacy between two people, remember that that's from where life is created. That's quite important in my eyes, and I'm sure in yours as well. So, being virgin at 40 years old, for example, that isn't exactly a bad thing because what if you just didn't met the right person for you? What if you did and nothing happened or nothing is happening? That may be a problem. That may be a bad thing. There may be shadows that need to be taken care of. Perhaps there's fear of intimacy, or perhaps you are insecure related to your own body, or perhaps you are insecure about your performance if you do that. Hmm. This is a complex topic. All the answers may be hard to be answered, but think about it. How about this scenario? What if you are like teenagers and just want to discover sexuality, for example, and then bye bye virginity. Is that a bad thing or a good thing? Well, technically, the same way a wild animal kills other animals to eat, or I'm imagining like those YouTube videos where the hawks have a nest somewhere, and then an owl, for example, comes in, and the hawk defends the nest and attack the owl and repel it from the nest. But during the process, a cub gets killed by the mother hawk. Like a casualty happened while trying to defend the nest, so the hawk didn't know better. Perhaps it was an accident, that death. Like teenagers, they are maturing. Of course, I feel like at some degree it's all right to explore sexuality. Like, fine, okay. But the lack of maturity that teenagers would have exploring such subjects, I feel like moderation is key, and leaving those more intimate acts for later in life when they realize, okay, I get to know a person. I feel like super extremely comfortable with that person. So yeah, let's lose the virginity. But another layer for that is that perhaps because a less, because sex is getting less and less sacred, so to speak, these days, that new culture gets passed down to the next generation, and so people lose their virginity later. I mean, earlier in life, and if you compare the now to the then it was something more strict, and in a sense, too much restriction isn't good from my perspective. However, too much freedom is also not that good. So from one extreme to the other, I feel like there's a need for balance. So where's the balance? Perhaps there needs to be more information about it, like real information. I, it's not like uh, I heard this not long ago actually, where uh, at school there are. I mean, I don't feel like it's many schools. I feel like one or two must have done that, where some schools taught the students uh, to do like oral sex, like what? But realize that sex is not just sex for pleasure, for creating a new life, for for ego, for an ego trip. That's more like between men, like sex. What people don't see usually, maybe even before this generation, like sex. There, it's deep intimacy. It's related to love. We live in a less loving society now than before because there's way too many things going around. There's less attachment to feelings. People are more robotic in a sense. They feel less, and there's more depression also because of the usage of artificial blue light. So there's a higher need to feel that feel good feeling, and sex is an outlet for that. The same way food is, for example. And not only that, but also, and that's perhaps the less talked aspect of sex, that Sex is an energy exchange. Like everything starts at energy. And you can look at that, for example, when during the act itself, there's lots of desire between one person and the other, between one another. And from the actions that result in that, from that desire, life is created. Hmm. It's not just about spirits, it's also another dimension of things starting from energy, which is quite interesting. And there's also the aspect that because there's an energetic connection between two people when they go for the intercourse, so there's an exchange of energy. Like it's not energy in the electrical sense, in the emotional sense. It's more like, how can I explain this? It's like the other person's energy, like the other person's vibe becomes yours, and vice versa. Like there's a mix. I'm not sure if I can explain this better, but like perhaps in your experience you can sense some of that from partners and all that stuff. And there's also the going even more esoteric, the chords, the energetic chords. Like it's as if that person's background kind of became your background and vice versa. Like there's a change in your energy field because of that. And that's why it's quite important to find that right partner for you, because if that person is right for you, then that won't be a problem. You will you will accept that gladly because you really care about that person, you really love that person. And so her problems can be your problems, and your problems can be your problems. There's an union deeper than the physical level. And that's the beauty of a romantical relationship. That's the beauty of sex. There's something higher there, you know. And in my perspective, that's why virginity is important. Like it's okay to at some point explore sexual things with someone if that's what you like, but in a way to speak, save the big guns for the right person. So yeah, if you get the urge to lose virginity if you are old, and if you are pressured to do so because of peer pressure, like that's not a good thing. Like do things at your own pace. If that really bothers you, then talk to woman or man, whatever, and get to know people and see if you can hatch a really loving relationship with someone and see where that takes you. That's my 2 cents on that, and I don't think I have anything else to add here. I covered everything I wanted to, so yeah, that's my perspective about virginity. And feel free to use the comment section of this video to take the discussion even further, add new perspectives, add new ways to see things, and yeah, let's engage in some healthy discussion, because that's what's good. That's how we grow, by sharing different perspectives and being open-minded. And this is the 100th video of this channel. Thank you for watching so far. Or if you never watched a video other than this one, thank you for watching. And if you enjoy this content, subscribe and leave a like. And even suggest a topic that you want me to talk about, because there's always some new perspectives that I can share. And I want to hear yours as well. So take care. Bye.